Mike Heading here. I've just got a beginner lesson for you today. We're going to work on 10 pentatonic licks for mandolin. So the major pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale, and it has 5 really safe notes. So it's a great scale to use when you're learning some new licks, okay? Because all the notes are going to be really safe. I'm going to break down the pentatonic scale, so what is the major pentatonic scale and how to play it, and then I'll break down each of the 10 licks and show you a bunch of ways you can use them, some basic exercises you can add, some more chords and practice doing the lick and then going back to chords. So I'm going to show you a bunch of, again, ways to use these licks, because it's one thing to know a lick and be able to play it, but it's another thing to be able to use it in a real life situation. So we're going to talk about that in this lesson as well. All right, here's 10 pentatonic licks for mandolin. And if you're watching the preview of this lesson, you can head over to my website, MikeHeadingMusic.com, grab the full-length lesson. You'll get access to all the videos, and you can download the tabs and the practice tracks. All right, here's 10 pentatonic licks in the key of G for mandolin. All right, let's start breaking down this lesson to 10 pentatonic licks for mandolin. And first, let's just go over the pentatonic scale, and let's talk briefly about that so we know what scale we're working with. So easiest way to find the pentatonic scale is it's just a variation on the major scale, the G, in this case, G major scale. So let me play the G major scale, and then we'll discuss how to get the pentatonic scale from that. So we're going to do our notes starting on the low G string. We're going to do the open, so no frets. We're going to play the 2nd fret. We're going to play the 4th fret and the 5th fret, all on the G string. Then we're going to go up and do those same frets on the D string. Open, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. Let's go back down. 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, open D string, down to the G string, 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, open. So that's your standard G major scale in the lower octave. You know, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So an important scale to remember. That's a good one to remember. But basically what we're going to do with the pentatonic scale is we're just going to take out 2 notes. So we're going to take out, if you gave each note a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're back to 1, scale would start over. So we're going to take out the 4th and 7 tones or notes of the scale. And why are we going to take those 2 out? So those sometimes are called like the color notes. They're basically the least safe notes of the scale. So one thing that's good about the pentatonic scale is, at least the pentatonic major scale, is it's all really safe notes. Pentatonic just means a 5-note scale. So those color tones, the 4th and the 7th, are used a lot in jazz to basically kind of create tension. They're not used quite as much in bluegrass. And again, you can incorporate those notes into your solos and in scales in future playing. But it's great to start with the pentatonic scale because it's just all really safe notes. You can't really go wrong. So let's play that same scale now with taking out the 4th and 7th notes. So we got open, 2nd fret, 4th fret. Now we're going to take out the 5th fret because that's the 4th note. So we're going to go up to the open D, 2nd fret, and then up to the 5th fret starts it over. So we have, or you can do down, up, picking. So just practice moving up and down those notes. Let's do that same scale up an octave. So we're going to start up on the 5th fret of the G string. Let's do the major scale first. We have 5th fret on the D string, open A, 2nd fret on the A, 3rd fret on the A string, 5th fret on the A string, open high E string, 2nd fret on the high E, and then 3rd fret starts it over. So let's do the pentatonic scale of that. So we have 1, 2, 3. Those are my notes of the scale, or my tones of the scale. So do, re, mi, and then we're skipping the 4th tone, so that's the 3rd fret, so we're going up to the 5th fret, high E string, skip the 7th note, which is the 2nd fret, and then up to the 3rd fret. So we have And right here, I'll give you 2 more notes. You could eventually continue this scale up further up the neck, but I'll just give you 2 more notes. So let's go up 3 more notes in the scale. So we have 1, 5th fret is 2, and 7th fret is 3. So just get 3 more notes. And I'm just doing them with all downstrokes. I wouldn't worry about one hand at a time. So if you're working on some new scales with your left hand, give your right hand a break. Maybe just do all downstrokes like I was doing. Once you feel like you've got the notes down, you can make your right hand more advanced. Or again, once you get your scale down, your scale is just your potential notes, so you can mix them up. And that's what we're going to do with some of the licks, is basically mix those pentatonic notes up in various orders to create licks. So that's the pentatonic scale. And remember, we're talking about the major pentatonic scale here. So pentatonic scale just means a 5-note scale. There's minor pentatonics. There's different pentatonic scales. In this lesson, we're talking about the major pentatonic scale. Okay? So let's start breaking down lick 1. And with each lick, it's either 1 measure or 2 measures. And then at the end of each lick, I did basically some strumming on a 2-finger G chord, so you can practice doing the lick and then going into strumming, doing the lick and going into strumming. Because a lot of these licks, and you probably know from playing mandolin kind of in real life, you're very rarely just stopped and then you do a lick and then you stop and you do, usually you're strumming or playing backup and then you do a little lick and then you have to go right back into strumming. So it's great practice to be able to go from a lick to strumming, a lick to strumming. You don't want to have to switch pick grips or anything like that. You want your right hand, whether you're doing notes or strumming, to be fairly consistent. So that's what we're going to practice. So let me play lick 1 and then we'll start breaking it down. Here we go. Let's do it again. One more time, real slow. For this lesson too, I'd really strongly recommend following the pick direction below the tab. So the staple looking symbols are the down strokes. The V looking symbols are the up strokes. So really important on this lesson, we're going to do down stroke picking on the down beats, up stroke picking on the up beats. So really important. So we're going to start with and also I have the left hand fingerings below the tab as well. So those are the numbers in the circles. So the 1 is your index finger, 2 is middle finger, 3 is ring finger, 4 is pinky. I'd recommend following those as well. So we're going to start up with lick 1. We're going to start up on the 5th fret of the D string. We're going to play 5th fret and then open. Again, that concept of using our scale notes but mixing them up in a different order. Very rarely in music you just go straight up and straight down the scale. So get used to mixing those scale notes up in various orders. Okay, so we're going to do 5 and open. And then back to that 5th fret, 2nd fret, open, down to the 4th fret with an upstroke, really important. So even though we're going to a lower string, we're doing down, up. Watch your right hand closely there. Down, up. So I've got. And then we're going to do a quarter note for beat 4, 2nd fret. And then open, starts measure 11, which is the strumming part of the lick. And there I'm doing pick, strum, pick, down, up, strum. And that part's not as important. You can do whatever strum you like. Basically, we want 2 measures of strumming, and then we want to be able to do our lick. Let's do the lick again real slow. So it's basically like kind of an ending lick. We're going from this high G note down to our low G. Also, when you think of your licks, think of kind of what are your target notes. So we're starting up here on a G, and we're getting down to a low G. So it makes sense. We're going from a G to a G in a G lick, so that makes sense. So don't worry as much, again, how you get down there. You could basically create your own style of lick. You know, think of your target note. So I'm going from this one to this target. And, you know, you could get down there shorter or longer. Just, if you think of your target notes, then all you have to do is think of, okay, how much time do I have? Then you can create a longer lick, you can create a shorter lick. And as long as you get to your target notes, you're going to be safe. So that's something to think about. We're going from a G to a G. Obviously, ending on a G note in a G lick makes sense, right? It sounds simplistic, but don't forget about that. If you end the lick on the wrong note, you know, it doesn't sound complete until you play that last, you know, G. So that's also important, is think of how you're ending the lick. A lot of times that's more important than how fancy the lick itself is. If you don't end it on the right note, the fanciest lick in the world is not going to sound right. So let's do lick one more time. A little faster. And if you're ever in doubt, remember, work on each hand one at a time. So another thing I might do is pretend the left hand is all zeros and play just the right hand. You know, it sounds weird when you're doing without the left hand, but if you can't do the right hand on its own, obviously adding some fancy left hand moves isn't going to make it easier, it's going to make it harder. So make sure you can do each hand on its own first before you try and combine them. It also kind of pulls back the curtain of what you have. So if I go, if that doesn't sound good, obviously, again, adding left hand is not going to make it sound better. So give that a try. All right, let's do lick 2 is kind of the opposite of lick 1. So we're going to start with the low G. Do that a few times. Time real slow. So lick 2 is basically like a G run for a guitar. It's a common lick in bluegrass, so it's just kind of, we're doing a mandolin version of the G run for guitar. So we're going to hit the low, open string, open G string. Again, follow the pick direction. That's going to be a quarter note. It's going to be beat 1. And then we're going to go straight up the scale, open 2-4 on the G string, open D string with an upstroke, really important, 2nd fret on the D string, open D string with an up, and then 5th fret on the G string ends the lick. And then we're going to go into our strumming. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1 is how you count it. One of these licks is like adding some more chords, so you could do like a G, and then go to your C, and then when I go back to my G, I'm going to do my lick, and then maybe a D, now back to G, do the lick again, C, lick, once you get these licks down, what I would recommend is adding some chords. So, you know, I'm just doing a G, C, G, D, basically strumming pattern, and I'm doing the licks on the G chord. So, again, great practice on putting it kind of into a real-life chord progression there. So one other thing you could do with lick 2 is experiment with like some hammer-ons or pull-offs or something like that, or slides. So I might do a 2 open pull-off there. So doing a 2 open pull-off at the end. So I'm just substituting a pick note. So instead of doing Now I'm doing. So that's kind of very similar to how you might do it on a guitar, or you could do like a 2/4 slide. Something like that. Again, slides, hammer-ons, and pull-offs take the place of a pick note. So if you're going to do a slide, I don't play that next downstroke. I substitute the slide with the pick note. And then... Or... So give that some practice. Any of these licks, basically, with some more advanced variations, you could add slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs. That'd be a very easy thing to, again, take these licks and even add another level of complexity. That'd be really good practice. All right, let's break down lick 3.